As you might have noticed, I'm in the middle of putting together a playlist on the concept of a living wage. If you haven't checked out those videos, I encourage you to do so. I have them linked down below. One thing that seems to be a stumbling block to working people who want to earn a living wage is the rising cost of healthcare. Part of these rising costs is driven by diagnostic procedures that probably wouldn't have even taken place 60 years ago. 60 years ago, people would have taken aspirin to see whether pain would just go away. Nowadays, they'll typically go straight to the emergency room, and the hospital will run a battery of tests, including MRIs. And there is no doubt that this additional care saves lives, and I think that it's probably saved mine. However, do we have a right to it? Do we have a right to all types of medical care? For instance, a cosmetic varicose vein procedure can cost over $100,000. Is that reasonable? The Novus Ordo Church says that everyone has a right to health care. However, no such proclamation was ever made prior to the Second Vatican Council. And certainly the Church has always considered it to be a desirable thing to offer at least basic health care to those who might not otherwise be able to afford it. And that was one of the reasons so many Catholic hospitals and even some religious orders were founded. However, is there a line where it is unreasonable to provide certain kinds of health care? Does everyone have a right to experimental procedures that can cost over $1 million? That cost is ultimately spread around so that in the end we all pay for it one way or another. And that is just one more thing that prevents many people from earning a living wage. I also wonder whether healthcare has achieved a greater importance in the modern age because people are especially afraid to die. Now certainly most people have always been afraid to die, but it seems that the modern age tells us that there is nothing after our worldly existence, just non-existence. Therefore it seems that most people are desperate to live forever, because that's all they have. Though in another age, they might have been resigned to death and devoted their last days to reconciling themselves to God and dying in a state of grace. Are we better off now? Nowadays, many people generously donate money to for-profit hospitals and disease research, where at one time they would have given their money to the church. I may do a series of videos on this issue in the future, but I wanted to bounce it off of you and see what you think. Please feel free to post your comments down below.